Hi, I'm Stephanie. I work at Woodcraft in Manchester, Connecticut, and I teach a class using Unicorn Spit. It is a paint, a stain, and a dye all in one, and there's a lot of different applications. One of the applications I'm going to show you today is how to use it to do a paint pour. What I have here is the bottom of a plastic water bottle, which will create a nice effect when we do our paint pour. I have these little measuring cups here that we're going to pre-mix our colors. I've decided to go with the sparkle pink. So I'm going to add probably about half the bottom, I'm going to add paint to half of the cup at the bottom. And I'm going to add the regular pink. I really love this new sparkle pink, but a little goes a long way, so I tend to mix it with the other color. I'm going to use gray. Once again, I'm filling just the bottom of the cup. I'm going to use Zia Teal. And I'm going to use some white. Once again, just filling the bottom of the cup. Okay. Now, I add Floetrol to do my paint pours. And what I've discovered with the Floetrol is sometimes there's little bits of dried paint that come out on the surface. So I like to put my Floetrol through a paint strainer before I use it in my paint pours. So I'm going to add about 3/4 of a cup of Floetrol here. So that's pretty much about a 1-to-4 ratio. It doesn't have to be exact. I've done it where it's more of a 1-to-2, nothing more than a 1-to-4. Okay, so that's the Floetrol, and I'm going to mix up my colors. You want to make sure they're mixed really well. I can already see a little bit of that sparkle coming out. So that one's good to go. Okay, that looks like my white. Sometimes I worry that I forget to add the white because the Floetrol is white. I have used Floetrol by itself and it will dry clear. So if I was trying to create a different effect, I've done that. So here's my Zia Teal. So our store, Woodcraft, is located in Manchester, Connecticut, and I've been doing Unicorn Spit classes here for the past few months. I usually have one about once a month, and I go over a variety of different techniques of doing a paint pour, using it as a stain, or using it as a paint. And so if anybody's interested, we're on Facebook, Woodcraft Manchester. So I'm going to start with a little bit of white. Now I'm going to pick up, just to show you here, I have my wooden clock round here is what I'm going to be covering. And I'm putting a jar underneath that's going to catch the leftover paint. I do have a hole drilled in the center for letting the paint drip down and for putting in my clock part. So I'm going to fill in a little bit of the white first here, just like that. And then I put this cup over top of it, making sure it's in the center. It's very important that you do this on a level surface because it is a paint pour, so gravity is going to be your friend. If your board is not level, then you're going to have a problem. So I also did this where I applied all one color at a time, and I found I lost too much of the definition of the color. So what I'm going to do is probably only each add about 1/3 of a cup at a time. So I'm going to just start with the 1/3, and you want to make sure you're right in the center of the board. It's not important to be totally exact, but you'll see as the flower rings start to develop, some of them may be a little bit wider than others. Okay, and I'm going to try to remember to put it on in the same order. So I'm going to keep my pieces over here, and I'm going to go with my gray, which I failed to mention is called Weather Daydream. All right. Now I'm going to go back again with the white. Just add another half of that cup. And back with the pink. And some more blue. So at this point, I can continue to add more paint and let this come over the edge, or I can start to manipulate the board to try to stretch out those circles a little bit more. So I'm going to just start a little bit, see what happens. Try to swirl it just a little bit. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to need a little bit more paint, but I'm sort of liking the direction it's going. A little different than the flower pattern, but it's nice to use some bold colors, high contrasting colors. I always tend to add white with my pours because I think a little bit of white really helps. So now at this point, I'm getting enough. What I need to do is I need to get enough around the edge because with the dry wood, the paint will almost create a dam and not allow the paint to flow even more. So I need to get paint on the edge here. So what I do is I'm just tilting it a little bit and getting that paint over the edge. So you are going to get a little messy, and I think at this point I'm going to start adding more paint and then I'll work the board. So I'm going to go back to my order. I'm going to start with the white. It's always a good idea not to use up all of your paint because you always want to have a little extra just in case there's those bare spots that you need to fill. Now, some people at this point would pick up the cup, but I'm not going to do that. Keep in mind too that there's the hole in the bottom, so that'll change things a little bit too. And now I'm just going to try to get the rest of the paint over the edge. Hopefully my cup won't start to migrate. Okay, so I think I'm getting, at least on that one side, I'm getting a good flow. Get it over here. And if I were to walk away right now, this would continue, it's going to continue to flow down. So at this stage, I am going to pick up the cup. And what you'll notice is because there's the hole in the center, the paint will start to seep down into the center of the hole. It'll probably give a little bit more help. All right, so as I said, I could leave it at that, but I think I probably want to add a little bit more color to the edges. I'm going to take my blue. Yeah, that blue, I'm really liking the way that blue is contrasting with the pink. Missed a spot here. I think I have a little bit more left over. All right, now what you can already see is there's some cells that are starting to develop, some little pockets of color, and I'm going to help that along a little bit more with my handy little torch. So let's see if it wants to start on me. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start to hit this. Try to show some of the torches. And what this does is it dries the paint that's on the top of the surface, kind of revealing the other colors that are underneath, and creates a really great effect.
You use a dry blower?
Excuse me?
And you use a dry blower?
A hair dryer?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't want anything with a lot of air like that. You could possibly use a heat gun. I like this little mini torch because I can really control the direction of the heat. If you get too close to the paint, it will start to boil a little bit. So you've got to be very careful, and you want to kind of keep the heat constantly moving. So I hope you in the video can see or how we've gotten some of those cells to come out. All right, and that's it for now. We're gonna let that continue to drip and dry. It'll probably take about 24 to 48 hours to dry. There is a lot of moisture on here, so at some point the board might start to warp a little bit, but I find if I give it a couple extra days, it'll flatten right out, and then I'm ready to do an epoxy. So when this is all dry, ready to go, I will post a video of putting the epoxy top coat on there and how the best way to apply that. So thanks for watching.